Imagine a city holding its breath, a strategic linchpin teetering on the edge of collapse. Pokrovsk, Ukraine, is facing a brutal onslaught, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Ukrainian forces are desperately trying to hold this crucial city against a relentless Russian advance. But here's where it gets controversial. Some reports suggest the situation is far more dire than officials are letting on, sparking a debate about the true state of the conflict. Ukraine has deployed its special forces to Pokrovsk, a city in eastern Ukraine, as a last-ditch effort to repel a massive Russian attack. According to Kyiv's top commander, this deployment is aimed at blunting the force of thousands of Russian troops currently engaged in an intense assault. Pokrovsk is more than just a city, it's a vital supply route for the Ukrainian army, making it a prime target for Moscow, which has been eyeing it for over a year as part of its broader ambition to control the entire Donetsk region. Think of Pokrovsk as the gateway to Donetsk, a key that unlocks control over a significant portion of eastern Ukraine. The urgency of the situation is further amplified by a recent wave of Russian drone and missile strikes across Ukraine. These attacks, which occurred overnight, resulted in the tragic deaths of 6 people, including 2 children, aged 11 and 14, and left tens of thousands without power. While Russia has denied deliberately targeting civilians, the impact of these strikes on civilian infrastructure and the resulting loss of life raises serious questions about the nature of the conflict. And this is the part most people miss: the psychological impact of these constant attacks on the civilian population, which can be just as devastating as the physical damage. Capturing Pokrovsk would represent Russia's most significant territorial gain since seizing the ravaged city of Avdiivka earlier in 2024. Reports indicate that at least 200 Russian soldiers have already breached the city's defenses, with others advancing in a pincer movement, threatening to encircle the city completely. Before the war, Pokrovsk was home to approximately 60,000 people, but now it stands as a largely deserted and battle-scarred landscape. Oleksandr Syrskyi, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, announced the deployment of consolidated groups of special operations forces to Pokrovsk. He insists that Ukraine is holding Pokrovsk. However, Deep State, a Ukrainian frontline map that compiles data from open-source images, paints a more nuanced picture. Their map shows Russian troops controlling a small southern section of the city, with the rest remaining contested. Subsequent reports from Deep State suggest continued infiltration by Russian forces, with a substantial number of infantry troops already inside the city. Syrskyi acknowledges the pressure from a large enemy group thousands strong but refutes claims that Moscow has completely encircled the city. He maintains that a comprehensive operation to destroy and dislodge enemy forces from Pokrovsk is ongoing, emphasizing that Pokrovsk and the neighboring town of Myrnograd are not surrounded or blocked. He also notes that enemy units are actively attempting to infiltrate residential areas and disrupt Ukrainian supply routes. Here's a point that could spark debate. While Syrskyi assures the public that the situation is under control, independent sources on the ground suggest a more precarious reality. This raises the question of whether the official narrative accurately reflects the challenges faced by Ukrainian forces in Pokrovsk. Adding to the complexity, Russia's defense ministry claimed to have killed all 11 members of a Ukrainian special forces team. A Ukrainian military official, speaking anonymously, vehemently denied this claim, stating that the operation is still underway. The Russian Defense Ministry's Zvezda news outlet also released a video purportedly showing Ukrainian soldiers surrendering inside Pokrovsk. However, the authenticity and context of this video remain unverified. Russia further claimed to have repelled a Ukrainian attempt to break out of Hryshyn, located northwest of Pokrovsk. These battles near Hryshyn could indicate that Russian forces are close to severing Ukrainian supply lines to Pokrovsk, further isolating the city. In response, Kyiv is reinforcing its troops in the area. The 7th Rapid Response Corps announced on Facebook that the situation remains difficult and dynamic, but that the army has managed to improve its tactical position in several quarters of the city. This suggests a fierce and fluctuating battle for control of Pokrovsk, with both sides making gains and facing setbacks. Adding another layer to the conflict, an overnight drone strike reportedly set an oil tanker and infrastructure ablaze at Russia's Tuapse port, a major oil export terminal. Unverified images circulating on social media appear to depict flames engulfing terminal structures and a tanker at the Black Sea port. Russian officials confirmed damage to 2 foreign civilian vessels, but reported no casualties and claimed that the fire had been extinguished. This attack highlights the widening scope of the conflict and the potential for escalation beyond the immediate battlefields. Data reveals a disturbing trend. Russia launched more missiles at Ukraine in October than in any other month since the start of 2023. According to an analysis of Ukrainian Air Force data, Russia fired 270 missiles in October, a 46% increase compared to the previous month. These strikes, targeting Ukraine's already strained energy grid, have left hundreds of thousands without power, impacting civilians across the country. Kyiv and its allies have condemned these attacks as a deliberate attempt to demoralize the Ukrainian population. But is it truly a strategy of demoralization, or simply a calculated effort to cripple Ukraine's warfighting capabilities? This is a question worth pondering. So, what do you make of all this? Is Pokrovsk truly on the verge of falling, despite official assurances? Are the Russian attacks on civilian infrastructure a legitimate military tactic, or a war crime? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss the complexities of this critical situation and its potential consequences.